Video games are subjective, and for a person to not like a game that is praised by many or a game that won a huge amount of awards, one is not supposed to like it. You play whatever entertains you, and other people's opinion or judgments of the games you play or like are irrelevant. But we can discuss why certain players prefer certain games over another, regarding the compared games being from the same genre, which is our topic, Dark Souls versus Sekiro. First, let's discuss the gameplay/combat. The first and extremely remarkable feature in Sekiro that many players who played Dark Souls love in Sekiro is the removal of stamina. You're not limited with your attacks. Sometimes you find an opening to attack or you want to roll, but you end up doing nothing because you're recovering your drained stamina and you waste chances of dealing/avoiding damage because of that. It gets frustrating at times, so having no stamina bar was definitely a big deal. And I know some players like to say that having the stamina bar makes the fights more realistic, but that is only one thing. In a fight, you do have stamina, but you also have different counters for different attacks. You can't always roll or apply the same counter to multiple attacks. So both games have their own features of realistic combat that the other does not have. Now let's see what kind of combat styles both games use. Dark Souls uses close, long-range combat using melee, ranged or magic. Sekiro mostly melee. There are some ranged attacks through the abilities or prosthetic tools. We've covered the combat styles. Let's talk countering attacks. In Dark Souls, common methods of avoiding incoming damage are to dodge /roll, same thing, and block. More advanced ways of avoiding damage is sidestepping, parrying, which I don't see a lot of people do, to be honest. The most common ones are of course dodge/roll. In Sekiro, you mostly deflect, dodge, run and block, and use special counters such as jump kicks and Mikiri counter. There are more counters though through the usage of the prosthetic tools to certain attacks, but the most common ones are deflect and the special counters. Now before I get to the in-depth analysis on why Dark Souls players struggle in Sekiro, another main point to mention is the pace. Sekiro is a very fast-paced game. Dark Souls is not. No matter what Dark Souls boss you try to bring up in an argument that it's a fast-paced boss, they will always be seen as slow-paced compared to the ones in Sekiro. And now we can start off with this. If you play a slow-paced game for a long time and you switch to a fast-paced game, it's reasonable to see that your reflexes might be slower. It's going to take you some time to get used to the pace. That's one thing. The next thing is also a big factor, dealing with incoming damage. Let's look at a short clip of both games to see what both players go through in that time. This footage is from a YouTuber named Esoterickk, and he did a no-hit kill on one of the game's bosses from Dark Souls, Slave Knight Gale. And this footage is from my own channel, a no-hit kill on one of Sekiro's bosses, Genichiro Ashina. So you saw why would Dark Souls players struggle in Sekiro. Coming from a game that you mostly applied one method of avoiding damage to a game where you have to perform at least 4 methods in a faster pace. Yes, you will have a hard time. I think one of the problems here is that when people play Sekiro, they labeled it as a Souls-like game. It's actually labeled as a Souls-like game in Steam, which I strongly disagree with. So when people approach it like that, you'd expect them to deal with it the same way they dealt with the games it was compared to. The truth is, Sekiro is nothing like Dark Souls. Sure, they're both action-adventure games, they're both difficult, but they're nothing like each other. Actually, the best advice I would give you before playing Sekiro, if you're coming from Dark Souls, is to forget everything you know from Dark Souls. Treat it as a whole new different game. Because if you have a fresh start and start adapting to the game's mechanics, you'd do much better. But if you start from a Dark Souls level gameplay, you will have a bad time. Not saying you won't adapt, but you'll adapt slower and struggle more than starting off fresh. To be honest, I feel like Sekiro was a huge step up from Software, and I hope they don't make another Souls-like game because I feel it would be a downgrade. because with Sekiro they showcased mechanics and methods of combat that were really interesting and fun. So let's hope that the next game will be a step up instead of copying the style of their previous games. Next game being Elden Ring, of course. Game sure looks amazing, but we still can't fully judge. So that sums up our discussion. Thank you so much for your time. Feel free to discuss your views on the topic in the comment section. We'll have a lovely chat. Till next time, good luck and cheers.